we give you something to read about King Jesus? Are you born again, ma'am?
I am not.
Jesus in John chapter 3 says 3 times to the most religious leader of the day, he would be like the Pope today, he told him you must be born again. So that's not a term that like born again Christians come up with, it's actually a term in the Bible. And so the reality is that Jesus said that we must have a day in our lives, just like you were born physically, you've been in the world for I don't know how many, teens, 20s, I don't know. Okay, yeah, but the idea is that you have to have a spiritual birth, a time when you see yourself as sinful and a lawbreaker, that you've broken God's law, you haven't done what God's called you to do. And in your recognition that you've broken God's law, you cry out to God, not maybe like physically crying out, but you acknowledge before God that you're not right by yourself, you're not good enough, and you see Jesus Christ as the one who can save you. Because when Jesus walked the earth, he did 2 things that are necessary in order for a person to be right with God. He lived perfectly. I'm not righteous. I'm not here to say I'm better than you. I'm here, and I'm a lot older than I'm older than you two put together probably. I'm going to be 60 in a year and a half. So I've sinned a lot more than you. So I don't come here and say I'm better than you because of A, B, and C. I'm a wicked sinner. But I realized that when Jesus died on the cross, he was paying God's penalty on my life. I had broken God's law. I deserved to go to hell. And by Jesus paying the penalty, no longer am I guilty. But I need more than to be innocent. The Bible says I need to be righteous. Right? So if you just say, hey God, I'm sorry for all my sins, what are you going to do tomorrow? You're going to sin again, right? You're going to have a bad thought or a bad word, or you'll be lazy or something. You guys seem like you're pretty decent people, but you're not going to keep God's law. You're not going to obey it perfectly. So you keep breaking God's law. So God says you need a righteousness, a goodness that comes outside yourself. And that's what Jesus did when he walked the earth. He was perfect, without sin. And the way I'm declared righteous is not because of my own goodness, but by my faith in Jesus. The Bible says you declared a man is justified not by the works of the law, not by being good, but by faith in Jesus Christ. So religion, are you religious? Do you have a religion?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so in Catholicism, I just read that verse from one of the books in your Catholic Bible, Galatians chapter 2. It says a man is justified not by the works of the law, but by faith in Jesus Christ. And so what you need to do is not trust in the sacramental system. Because if you're trusting in the sacramental system, you're trusting in doing certain things, right? And so these scriptures can't be diametrically opposed to one another. You can't say I'm saved by works and then I'm saved by faith. And so we as Christians, you're a Catholic, maybe Catholic Christian, you're saying you believe in Jesus, but you must be good. That's at least mostly what many Catholics tell me. So if you're basically saying you must be good, who are you really trusting in? You or Jesus? Who? If you're saying you must be good, besides knowing Jesus, yeah. And so the problem is you're actually going to stand before God and say, hey, I wasn't that bad. I'm not as bad as those people or that person. I'm pretty good. You think like you have the scale mentality, right? You get the scales, and I'm like pretty good, not that bad, maybe better. And you really don't know where the cutoff line is, but you're hoping by the way you live. Because I grew up in New England, I grew up in Massachusetts, where there's a Catholic church on every corner, so I understand the mentality of Catholics. And so I'm not telling you to leave your religion. What I'm telling you is you need to trust alone in Jesus Christ.
What religion are you guys?
Huh?
What?
I'm a Baptist, so I'm a born-again Baptist. But regardless of what you are, Jesus said you must be born. You must have a time in your life where you see yourself as insignificant or not capable of saving yourself and putting all your confidence in Jesus' perfect life and his sacrificial death. That's what it needs. That's what it means to be a Christian. Because once you become a Christian, God's Spirit will actually give you a desire to read the Bible. And give you a desire to want to go to church rather than going just as a kind of means of being good. And you actually want to talk to other people, like how you have conversations about the Bible with other people. Because I'm trying to learn it, and I want to be able to articulate and share with other people. And I want to share this message that I'm talking to you about. It's called the gospel, good news. And so the idea is that you're going to die, 10 out of 10 people die, unfortunately. You know, you're young, but you're going to get old like me someday. And then, and you're going to face God. The sign of whether it's appointed on the men to die once and face judgment, you're going to die, you're going to be judged by God. And if you're trusting in yourself, what you're basically saying to God is you don't need Jesus. You believe he was a good man, a good teacher, he did a bunch of good things, but you still needed to add to Jesus. And that's, the Bible says you're justified by faith apart from works. Can't be both. And so that's our plea to people out here on the streets. If you get anything from this conversation I have with you, is that I pray that you would just think for a moment when you have some quiet time, because busy night, and say, God, if that guy's saying what's true, show me. Show me some more scriptures. Ephesians 2:8 says, a man is saved by grace through faith and not of yourself. It's a gift of God, not by works, so that we don't boast. So right now, I'm not telling you how good I am I? I'm telling you how good Jesus is. My boast is in Jesus. And so more often than not, religious people say, well, I'm not that bad. I've gone to church, I've been confirmed, I avoid evil, I've been baptized, but a lot. So I think I got a pretty good chance. But the one thing that you don't want to get wrong on the day of judgment is salvation. That's the most important thing in the whole world. I mean, you're going to marry somebody maybe someday, and you're going to have a family, you're going to raise them and help them to learn how to live. But if you get salvation wrong, hell never ends, the Bible says. The book of Revelation 20 speaks of, chapter 20 says that after Jesus judges people, he's going to throw them into the lake of fire. In other words, they're going to be separated from God for all eternity. You don't want, you're 20 years, 25 years, 20, 25. That's like in comparison to eternity. For all eternity, your view of Jesus will determine where you spend eternity. So that's why we talk to people, that's why we have people, because we want to get into conversations with people and share our faith. And so that's,
thank you so much.
Yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah, well,
so,
thank you.
All right, what's your name?
I'm Lucy.
Lucy, nice to meet you. And your name?
Malarie.
Malarie, Lucy.
Yeah.
Where do you guys live here?
We are here in a house here.
Okay, so where do you live then?
I live in Chicago and she lives in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. You college?
I'm actually 27, so I'm
okay, so out of college, okay.
Yeah, I'm in grad school.
Oh, okay, yeah. My daughter just got out of, she goes to Palm Beach Atlantic in West Palm Beach. She just got home, was it Wednesday night, so that's why. So you guys look like, when I said teen, I said, nah, I think they're maybe in their 20s, but I don't want to offend you because you're young, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, you look a little more than college kids my daughter's age, so. But nonetheless, I'm glad that God put you in my path. We could have this conversation, because I'm not telling you to leave Catholicism, but I'm telling you that, hey, how you view Jesus is going to
I've actually
determine.
been going to a
Non-denominational?
Yeah, instead of a Catholic church.
Where they teach the Bible a little bit more.
Yeah, so.
And there are good Baptist churches, there are bad ones. You know what I mean? But the idea is that Christ should be at the center of the messages that we are taught, because he's the central figure in all of history. All the Old Testament points to Jesus arriving, and all the New Testament points back to him. And so the idea is, who is Jesus to you will determine where you spend eternity. So, all right, guys. Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you for listening. If I never see you again, I pray that all your faith and confidence is in Jesus, and I'll see you again in heaven. That's what my hope. So, all right. God bless you guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.